What is up, RTS fans worldwide? Welcome to RTS Book Club. I am your host, Balisaurio, but you can call me Bali if you like. Either way, I'm just a casual player that's here to talk about real-time strategy. Tell me, what games have you been playing lately? Are you going through any campaigns? Or are you more of a skirmish player? Either comp stomping or hitting that ladder. Doesn't matter. If you stick around, I'll tell you mine. But first, let's quickly jump into the RTS question of the day. What is your favorite faction in all of RTS? My favorite faction is the Zerg. The Zerg from StarCraft 2 hold a lot of mechanics, systems, or attributes that interest me as a person. I am terrified and attracted to insects as a concept. If I find an insect in front of me, I absolutely hate it. But in video games or in movies or even just educational content or real documentary style content, I'm really drawn to insects. They're just these terrifying death machines, and I think the Zerg kind of combine that aspect of alien and insect, monstrous, different, and insect into a very cool faction that also plays up with a lot of weird systems inside of RTS, which I love. So it's a combination of a really cool concept with very interesting execution. You don't have a lot of base building, which is an aspect of RTS that I really like, but it's mitigated with other systems like expanding with creep or making your actual houses movable so you can spy with them. The larva system for me is super cool, having these banks of units you can instantly call upon if you have the resources. And the idea of having a very fast, skirmishy, and reactive faction invites the Zerg to have a very engaging playstyle. So those are the reasons why Zerg is my favorite faction in all of RTS. So please run into the comments and let me know what is yours. And now it's time to book club. In case you are new around here, let me quickly explain the categories. Let me quickly explain the structure in RTS Book Club. The games I'm talking about today were selected from my available pool of video games, separated by very flimsy and often ignored categories that are assigned to a day of the week, the free time I have to play each week. Mondays, I play the wild card, which in the context of this channel means either I grind out StarCraft 2 co-op commanders, or I'm playing any kind of strategy, management, or tactics game that could not really be considered an RTS, but it plays up with some elements similar to it. Tuesdays, I play the classics. The classics are any games released before my arbitrarily selected date of 2010. So, any game before 2010, that's a classic. Wednesdays, I play the modern RTS. So games that came after that arbitrarily selected date of 2010, but also maybe try out demos of upcoming games. And you have been tricked, because Thursdays, I play the 4X or the Grand Strategy. Every game in that genre, or 4X and RTS hybrids. So, did you play any games in any of these categories? A wild card, a classic, modern, or a 4X? The games I played last week were: Monday, I played Driftland, the Magic Revival, which is kind of like a city builder RTS hybrid. I played the 4th level of the human campaign. Now, Tuesday, I played Dawn of War, Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War 2, Chaos Rising. I played the first 2 levels of the Chaos Rising campaign. Wednesday, I played Age of Empires 4. I skirmished a lot against the computer, trying out the Malians. And Thursday night, I played Star Wars Empire at War. The last level, I finished my Empire campaign on hard difficulty. So, let's begin. Monday, I played Driftland, the Magic Revival. Driftland is this city builder RTS kinda hybrid. I don't know very well the Majesty games to really tell you, but I think it's very close to that idea. Meaning that, you have your city building mechanics. Well, it's very focused on the city building. not really on the unit management or the or using your units very aggressively to attack and take control of the map. Well, you do, but it's not usually what normally an RTS how normally an RTS would do it. Bringing it back to Majesty games, instead of giving orders to your units, you put bounties on actions you want to be done, and you know that's like a suggestion to your hero units or your characters that are usually your main normal units. The reason I initially got into Driftland is because I am very much into high fantasy and silly, whimsical fantasy, you know, fairy tale, childish fantasy, if you want to say like that. But I love it, you know. I liked Bloomborough from Magic the Gathering. I like Magic the Gathering because for the same reasons. I like playing the Wood Elves in Total War Warhammer, which I think, you know, it's kind of like the same vibe of using unicorns and the magical beasts of the forests and old weird druids and magical combinations of creatures to go out and attack or whatever, you know, just to play out and live in that world. Well, Driftland is more magician fantasy, but the whole aesthetic is very whimsical, like, you know, it's castles and it's the world. The story is supposed to be like the races in the world overused magic. The mages exploited the world and the world literally exploded. the ground exploded and now everybody lives in this floating islands, floating masses of land. And I guess the way they move and communicate with each other is through magic, right? Well, not I guess, it's the way. Magic apparently died down or something, or after the apocalypse. This is like a post-apocalyptic kind of world. We are rebuilding the world after magic destroyed it with magic. So more magicians are reawakening magic to kind of control the lands, and they can move the islands around and pull them in and stuff like that. So that's how kind of how like the game goes. You are this in the story, at least in the human campaign, you're this powerful magician called Emmerich that holds the something grimoire, you know, a very special tome, and he's the only one that can read it or invoke it or whatever. The magic in the game it's kind of like the power-ups or a more direct engagement for the player. So you use your magic spells. Your magic spells are usually the abilities or stuff you do to, you know, to interact directly. What do I mean by this? So instead of scouting, you summon eyes. And the way you explore the land, you conquer new land, is you move, you select, you reveal the fog of war through these magical summoned eyes, and then you grab the land and cast a spell to move it into your mainland. Then you build a bridge. And by connecting a bridge into the you know, one of your main islands, your castle, you have a central castle. By connecting the network of islands into each other, you know, into your big mass with the castle, you make that piece of floating land yours. Now you can build on it, you can explore it. Well, you can explore either way with your units, but you have a very specific unit called the Explorer that goes in and investigates what kind of minerals are in that piece of land. Resources are very important in Driftland. You have a buttload of different kinds of resources. You have gold, wood, steel, and another kind of steel, like minerals and coal and rubies, I think. And you can also extract mana, and you have to micromanage also the food spending in your own empire. To do that, you have to build farms. To man those farms, you need to build houses. But of course, building more houses demands having more farms, more food available, and then that's, it becomes economy balancing game, and that's pretty much it. After that, you have a whole selection of resource gathering buildings, but you also have your upgrade buildings, your military buildings. Well, not military per se, because there are production buildings where you can make archers and knights and mages, but they're treated more like heroes instead of just normal units. So you have to hire, you have to take one of your available population, and hire a marksman or a mage. And to upgrade them, you have to kind of like buy the upgrades from the store. Like you take a blacksmith, you build it, and you buy the upgrade, and they go and grab it, and then they have it equipped. And that stock of upgrade, you have like one unit of that upgrade, and then it's taken. So if you want to upgrade another unit, you have to build another upgrade, and kind of like that. Now also you have several powers that you can invoke. You can heal your units, you can fire whirlwinds or electricity or literal balls of fire. You can summon some gates to teleport from island to island, and then you can temporarily hold that island. You can terraform some islands. You can use your magic in a lot of kinds of different ways to engage, either with the enemy or with the landscape. And as I told you, these islands are full of resources. They have different resources. Some have rubies, some have gold, some have treasure. That treasure are like weapons or upgrades. You can equip your units, and some have nests of wild animals, which in this game are very important, if not one of the most important for military advantage. So there's an eagle with a nest, and the eagle it's a creep. You fight against it, you kill it. It's very easy to kill. And now that nest, if you control that island and then you capture it with a hero, that nest will allow one of your heroes to actually ride an eagle. So now you have a marksman that can fly on an eagle, or a magician that can fly, or a knight that can fly. And with them, you kind of go out into the other islands and explore and gather treasures. And you can scout with them without having to spend magic or fear, or having a time limit like the eye. Like you just go. So the idea is to eventually build up an army of flying magicians or flying whatevers, marksmen, warriors, whatever you would like. There's only those three classes: magician, marksman, and knight. Well, at least for the humans. And then you go out into other islands and you do as you do in RTS. You attack, raid, and attack. I don't know how a normal skirmish goes about. I have just played the campaigns. There's different factions, like they have the humans, the dark elves, the dwarves, the wild elves, and the nomads. The nomads are a separate kind of standalone expansion that plays more like a traditional RTS, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was kind of like an answer of what people wanted, or they themselves, the studio, originally wanted. But they released it after the main game. So I'm gonna finish the base game first, and then go into the Nomads expansion. So I'm playing the human story. Spoilers for the story from now on, you're being warned. You playing as Emmerich, and the campaign is a lot of Emmerich coming into becoming the leader of the human faction. So all the things that he's kind of doing, where he's coming from, I don't know. I don't think it's very well explained. The story, it's told in the levels. It's told as stuff happens. Like, hey, let's go to a meeting over there with elves, and yeah, we have to gather 30 food. Oh, I love you, brother. or something like that, you know, stuff, silly stuff like that. But there's intro text before every mission. In the human story is it's a conversation in the future about the past, which is the level. The level is it's the past retroactively being told. And there's a mysterious figure, a mysterious dark elf figure talking with a mysterious human figure. And they've always been talking kind of in an antagonistic way, but like they're allies, but not like they like each other. It's kind of like they hate each other, but they're unified for some reason. And they're talking about the stuff that Emmerich is doing. So first, Emmerich wanted to meet the Dark Elves, the Dark Elf leader, and he got betrayed for some reason. They attacked him. That didn't fly with him, so he went back to the human kingdoms. Apparently there's several human kingdoms. This is the second level, right? And you have to unify the human kingdoms. They all hate each other because someone is raiding their farmers. And then you find out that after, you know, talking with them and dealing with them, you find out that actually one of the human kingdoms is working with the Dark Elves. And it's betraying the other. So you unify the other kingdoms, you attack the betrayer, and there, you know, the humans are unified. Then in the third level, you go and save the dwarves from a Dark Elf attack, and now you ally with the dwarves and take on the elven encampment there. And now for the fourth level, which is the one I'm at, or the one I played, with everyone unified, you know, humans, dwarves. For some reason, we're attacking the Dark Elves. It's just Emmerich is just he's just spiteful, I guess. It doesn't read like that. And the character is more like, no, I want to I want to stop the evildoers or whatever. You know, it's not really. There's not a lot of story going on. There's more of a tutorial-y, and sometimes someone mentions what's going on. You know, the story apparently is not the most important aspect of the game. More about the gamey parts of the game are the important aspect of the game. Yeah. In the fourth level, as far as Emmerich knows, his brother Orias got captured. We find out through the introductory conversations that Orias has been the one talking with the Dark Elf all along. And now this final fourth level is you going into the Dark Elf's castle and sieging, attacking, and rescuing your brother. Well, it turns out your brother is a betrayer, and you have to defend against his attack. You see, you know, the story is not really the important part. The important part is the gameplay. But how is the gameplay? Tedious. I like it, but I like the fantasy. I like the magicians. I'm sold just on that. I'm a fool. I'm playing this game just because of the aesthetics of it, right? Just, you know, floating islands, magicians. It's a good thing that the campaigns are like 5 levels long, because levels are long, and I mean long, not like sometimes even more like Age of Empires 2 levels of build up and destroy like 3 different factions, like that kind of long, but even less engaging, because instead of managing and getting attacked all over the place and moving units around and resources, it's just, you know, spreadsheet simulator 2000. You just move numbers from one side of the bar to the other, and you see one number go up, you see one number go down, and you try to mitigate that. I'm playing on the easiest mode, on the easiest. It's called apprentice level. I used to play, I think, on the not the hardest, but like the hard, and then I went down to medium, and then I'm on apprentice, and I'll let me tell you, I don't feel embarrassed. I don't feel any less so for doing it, any less proud of going through the campaign by doing it, because from what I gathered, not a lot really changes except how hard it is to get some resources, or how much some stuff costs, and you know, it just makes the resource management more tedious. It not really. Maybe some objectives are gather more of this resource. No, I don't think so. No, actually, they stay the same. It's just how hard it is to get some resources and how much you have to do for the same results. There's, as far as I gathered, not a lot of more challenges. Maybe the enemy attacks you more, maybe. But the combat, again, the combat in this game is not always that engaging. Just, you know, put some towers and let your guys attack and then they heal up. Sometimes if you don't want to, sometimes if the attack is really strong, yeah, you have to throw like a fireball or a crystal something or two. But again, it's just more tedious than really engaging. All in all, Driftland is not that bad. You have to, there's a lot of stuff to do, you know, exploration, and there's a lot of ways to mitigate when you run out of resources. You also have upgrades that can help you expand your powers or do stuff faster. But there's a lot of waiting involved, and it's just it. As a city builder game, RTS city builder hybrid, it has, you know, it's kind of like the reverse of Blade, you know, all the benefits, none of the weaknesses. It's kind of like all the weaknesses, not really a lot of the benefits, but those engaging parts of city building are there. You know, if you like chill, relaxing city builders, Driftland is it's a fine one. It's a cute one. After a while, you have, like, you know, these cute units like dragons and your magicians. The different spells that you can buy for your magicians, like, they actually do it. Like, they can freeze enemies in the air, and you can freeze them as well. And again, you can summon tornadoes and I think like lightning storms, and you heal up, and you know, there's a lot of fun stuff to do as a magician city builder. But the fighting, you know, as an RTS, it's slow. Your units have to run back a lot to heal, or you're gonna lose them, and making another hero, it's kinda, you know, slow. You have to hire the guy, he gets trained, and go into the nest and train the eagle, and then they get up, and sometimes you need like a higher level hero, and I don't know. There's a bunch of steps for stuff. But I'm almost done with the human campaign. Again, it's been sort of fun, relaxing. You know, it scratches that itch you have again for city building and relaxation. But you know, I'm gonna stop there. I do want to play the other races. I want to see. Apparently, they have some different factional ways to do their stuff. You know, like. There's just one last level for the human campaign, and kind of want to see how the dark elves and dwarves go. So yeah, that was Monday. Did you play any kind of game that fits the wildcard category? You know, any simulation, strategy, tactics, resource management-y kind of game that's not really an RTS? Have you played Driftland? Did you like it? What is your favorite Driftland civilization? Or what's your idea of its campaign? Let me know in the comments. The classic game I played for Tuesday was Warhammer Dawn of War 2, the Chaos Rising campaign. With the recent Relic news that I think they're making a new RTS. They finally announced their first game as an independent studio, which is kind of like an Advanced Wars kind of deal. I was like, yeah, I want to play some Relic games. So I played Dawn of War 2. I have an interesting relationship with Dawn of War 2, in which I really like playing the Tyranids. And that's it. I mean, I kind of want to try out the Eldar sometime, but I wanted to play the campaigns. I first played the Retribution campaign because it's the only one that had Tyranids. I kept hearing how fun and RPG and interesting the main campaign was, so I tried it out. Initially, I really loved it. I really liked, because the levels in Retribution, you have like very minimal loadout or equipment building for your hero. You know, you have the Swarm Lord, and like every now and then you have some interesting upgrade, but sometimes it's just more about the numbers game. And yeah, you can play with the different styles of level up, but I think there's like not a lot of them, like 10 levels or something. And you can customize your army. It's more army focused. The Retribution campaign is more army focused than the traditional campaign. The traditional campaign than the base campaign. The base campaign is more RPG squad tactical gameplay, and the other one is it's still squad-ish tactical gameplay, less so than RTS, but it's less RPG and more pump out units and destroy and take over this position, then push out and spit out. So it becomes monotonous, and I kind of gave a lot of shit to the Retribution campaign for it. I kept hearing how interesting and fun the base game campaign was. So I was like, how? And this is you? Like one of the most famous games in RTS? Actually, let me do a sidebar. The skirmishing in Dawn of War 2 is very fun. It's more of a Company of Heroes style of game where you capture zones. There's minimal to zero base building, but still it's RTS-y in a way that only Company of Heroes and Dawn of War is. Relic is one of the most influential studios for RTS, and that's their formula. But still, it's still an RTS. I still consider Company of Heroes and Dawn of War 2 as an RTS. You still go into the map and collect resources, and you build some defenses. So there's your base building. The skirmish is very fun. It's one of the most fun games to play, like 3v3 or 2v2 in RTS. Well, I think every RTS is fun in that way, especially free-for-alls. But then we come to the campaigns. It's fine. You're playing as the Blood Angels in Space Sector Aurelia or Zone Galaxy Sector Aurelia or whatever, in this Aurelian sector of the Blood Angels. I think the Blood Angels, that's where they come from. And in the base game, the Tyranids are coming, and you have to do like various missions across several planets. And there's like an infestation gauge that you have to lower down. You level up your units. Each level up, you assign skill points to different trees or styles of characters, different character trees or RPG trees, ability trees. I don't know. So you have like the defensive one, the melee one, the ranged one, and like the powers one, the abilities, the magic one. And you can customize all your characters as you like. Of course, some are more fine-tuned, or they push you into certain directions, but it's really free-form what you do with them. The campaign is through days, so each day you can play a mission. You have several missions, and you have important ones that you have to take care of before they expire, or I don't know what happens, something happens. And if you fail, you lose the day, right? And you have to go over it again. So you can't save in the middle of the game. So you have to actually hold out and push it through. If you make a mistake that might cost you the match, it's done so. You lose by getting all of your 4 characters killed. You can only take 4 characters out of like 6 per mission. When one of them falls down, you can take another one and revive him, and to heal his life completely, you just have to retreat, go to an outpost or a sector or I don't know, a beacon, and he heals up. They heal up their squads, and then you go out and do the whatever you have to do. A lot of the collectibles in the game, it's ammunition. You have every character usually has like grenades or special powers like shields and heals and whatever's. So those run out, and you go out and go destroy crates and boxes, and you get supplies of this. In the Retribution, it's just like more resources for units you don't really need to use because you don't get your units killed that much in general. And here it's ammo, which I think it's more interesting. In the end, I think I ended up liking the Retribution campaign more because of the Tyranids and because it really feels more of an RTS-y, like different skirmishy RTS-y battles. In this one, in the base campaign, is like sludging through a swamp of killable units with a 4 tactic squad team. It's not bad, but it's super repetitive and it's not RTS-y, which is fine. I wanted to try it out. It's more about the RPG and the choices you make. Alright, I'm all in. But then you hit like a level cap, and I just had nothing else to do than just try and defeat the level. And the problem is that sometimes the loot you get, because you can load out different weapons, right? You can use plasma weapons or swords or chainsaw or like axes or bazookas. Like you can fit however you like your characters, and that's pretty cool. But the weapons are not really that interesting. It's just a numbers based game, you know? Oh, this is the super powerful lightning axe, level 19, and then you get a level 18 on the mission, but you already have the level 19 one, so you have nothing to do with your loot except, well, use it to level up. And then you level up real fast, and then you have nothing to do with the loot, and you can't progress any further because you're already max level. So there. It's not as tedious as I'm making it sound. It's more fun. The levels are again a bit like going through a swamp, because if one dies, then you have to bring it back up, because if someone died, if all of them died, then you lose and you have to restart all over again. You don't know how many times I lost everybody on the boss of the level, which means I have to go all the way back in and maybe go into the different side objectives, and it's kind of like a drag on its own. And the Retribution one, if I'm not mistaken, you can save. So I think that was the main problem with the base campaign, the save button. But anyway, I knew that the Chaos Rising campaign had more elements to it. So besides the fitting your units with different kinds of weapons and getting an expansion on the level up system, you know how you have 5 levels more, I think. You can actually migrate your old characters into the new campaign or reset them. I chose to reset them, but I think I kept a lot. I mean, I migrated the save file, but I reset a lot of them. A lot of them I kept the same, but I kind of like restructure stuff around. My main commander is very melee based, and I usually have him with Thaddeus. I think Thaddeus is Thaddeus the one that jumps into, yeah, I think Thaddeus is, no, Thaddeus is not the one, I don't know. He goes in with the other melee guy that jumps in and has like a squad of guys fighting with chainswords. Well, I had him with swords and chainswords, and I had my main guy with an axe. And even though he couldn't jetpack jump, he's very, you know, inspirational and go in and charge and all that stuff. Oh yeah, so in Chaos Rising, you have this extra element of chaos. The story in this, after you defeated with 4 guys, with 6 dudes, after you defeated an entire Tyranid invasion with 6 dudes, the planet Aurelia comes back from the warp. Supposedly it had been eaten by the warp, and then it just warped right back in. And of course it has demons or whatever. The main story right now is that, you know, going investigate what's going on. So the first 2 levels, it's pretty much, it's very basic. It's still very tutorial-y, but it's hard. I don't know how to explain. It's very hey, walk here, defend this, walk here, take these guys, attack this. Good job. But because it's a standalone expansion, and I think they know, the enemies are not so easy to handle as it would have been in the tutorial section. The first level I don't remember much. I mean, it wasn't really that much. You didn't really do a lot of. You kind of re-recruited your old squad back. Now by the second level, there's some changes, and this is where the change up happens. I gotta say, the base mechanics of Dawn of War are very fun. You know, you have different powers and different weird abilities engaging. You have suppression and cover, and guys jump over stuff, and other guys just are very fast. And there's usually vehicles that send lasers, and there's people with psychic powers, and there's like bombing, bomb runs, orbital bombing going on. There's a lot of stuff going on, and that happens in all of the campaigns, right? So that's still fun. Now in the base campaign, you have this big metal guy called Davian Thule. He's, I don't know what the unit name is called, but he's one of the guys that if you die and you're like if you don't quite die, or are you dying, or your mind is still there, they use your body to a dreadnought to pilot a dreadnought, and you know it's like your coffin, it's your corpse, you're pretty much dead. Your only function is mechanical and military, and go and kill stuff. So we got Davian Thule as our dreadnought, a mechanic tank, which his introduction was a very interesting, you know, narrative moment in the past campaign. He died because of the Tyranid invasion. He was like a commander or something, and then he came back and like, hey, I'm ready to kick some butt. I'm that guy that died in the other level, and now you can play as me. So we left that guy behind, and we took a new psychic kind of unit. So we played with the new style of character hero. The level was pretty much go here and then go back. So you had to take we leave Davian Thule behind, and we take we go through the whole level, take something or destroy something, like a relays. I don't remember. Oh no! Now I remember. So the first level we have to deal with a lot of the corrupted Marines. There's a lot of no, not Marines. Sorry, the Guardsmen. There's a lot of Guardsmen that they turn crazy or chaos, and you have to deal with them. Now in the second level, we have to stop the Eldar. The Eldar have webways and stuff being pulled in. We have to destroy the Eldar webways or the Eldar constructions, and you know, take Aurelia piece by piece. Take Aurelia back piece by piece. When I'm at the end of the level, I destroy the Eldars, and then they tell you to go right back in, like, oh, now you have to defend Davian Thule because you left him all alone back there, and he's getting attacked by several powerful Eldar whatevers. This was a little bit stressful because I lost like half my squad in the initial, you know, push, in the initial objective, because I thought that was gonna be the end of the level, because it usually is. Even in the base campaign and in Retribution, it's just, hey, push out until you destroy this, or push out and kill this guy, and then you do it and you win. But it was like, okay, you did it, now run the whole level back in and save Davian Thule. And I had nothing. I had like 2 guys with no life, or everybody had low HP, and I just clicked ran, everybody died. Only the main commander survived, I don't know how, and Davian Thule had 0, like 5 HP for the remainder of the... I think this was scripted. Like, I think the level would have not allowed me to die. Maybe it does, or maybe I'm just like that I did that clutch of a turnaround, but I very clearly remember, you know, seeing one of the most powerful Eldar units firing at my guys and my guys receiving 0 damage when they should have died. So yeah, in the end I think I was saved by the bell. I'm getting kind of tired of the Dawn of War style of campaign. If I want to play Dawn of War, I want to engage Dawn of War 2 with more in the skirmish, which is very, you know, very creative loadouts, and you kind of customize what upgrades your army gets for what kind of situation you want, and it's still very mapping, you know, going all over the map and engaging in several skirmishes. It's the Company of Heroes formula, and I really like that. And the campaign doesn't really do that. So I'm getting tired of the campaign. The only reason I'm gonna stick around for the Chaos Rising is for the chaos mechanic system. You know, I already engaged with the weapons, I already engaged with the weapon loot system and the RPG. It was okay, but it wasn't my cup of tea. It was fine, it was fun. I was entertained by that by that campaign. But I don't think I don't hold it in very high regard as many other people do. But we'll see. Maybe the chaos spices it up enough to, you know, to make it more engaging than the, because if it's gonna be just the base campaign again, I might quit and just go play Retribution again and try the Eldars, or just go into a skirmish directly and forget all the campaigns. I've already played them. I played it with the Tyranids. That's what I wanted. All of this is just extra. I want to play Tyranids again. So maybe, you know, next time I'll come around to Dawn of War 2, it's gonna be a skirmish. One of the reasons I played Dawn of War was also because a user called Repeater, shout out to Repeater, commented on my first video, on my first RTS Book Club video. He said that his Dawn of War, his favorite RTS was Dawn of War 2. It was because, thanks, you know, to being able to upgrade your units and choose their loadouts, and because of them not being disposable. And I think that's very, yeah, that's very interesting of the Company of Heroes and of the Relic Company of Heroes style formula. That, yeah, in RTSs, units are very, very disposable. They're there to die, to deal some damage and then die. And in this kind of games, you really have to, you don't have either the time or the resources to be killing your own units. You have to actually do stuff with them. So retreating and going back and keeping them safe is a very important part of the game, and I like that. So shout out to Repeater, because he's one of the reasons I kind of like got the craving to play Dawn of War again. So that was Tuesday. Did you play any of the classics? Did you play any game considered a classic? Did you play any game in the Dawn of War series? Did you play Dawn of War 2? And if you did, what do you think of the campaigns? What's your favorite faction in Dawn of War? Do let me know in the comments. Tyranid supremacy every day. Now, last Wednesday I played Age of Empires 4 because Age of Empires fever, you know, kept looming. So I just say, hey, whatever. And I'm really hooked right now on Age of Empires 4. I want to keep randoming and trying new civilizations, and actually I'm thinking that this game is something I want to actually try lathering, or, you know, not super hyper competitive. Like I don't have any dreams of getting anywhere other than just playing with other people. That's, you know, that's something I do find interesting. I am a competitive person, even though I do want to, like this channel and myself, I do want to focus on RTSs casually. But I'll speak, obviously I'll speak of my ladder adventures if I ever get there. As for now, I'm just really excited to keep trying the new civilizations. Now, I misquoted Kocho last time when I said that he said that Age of Empires civs represented or took from different styles of RTSs. What he actually said is something more like Age of Empires 4 does implement different kinds of strategy games or gets informed of many other kinds of strategy games for its own mechanics, and via them to give civilizations their unique taste or feel. That's just a correction for something that I said last episode. Doesn't really tie in with. But anyway, so I got random. I did random and I got the Malians. Well, actually, I got HRE, defeated the computer on hard. That's something I hadn't quite done previously. I mean, it's not like a huge accomplishment. It's just like a lot. Like, oh, by the way, I just wanted to try out if I could defeat the computer on hard, and I got HRE, Holy Roman Empire, and I really like the prelate play style. I randomed again. I wanted to try something. I wanted to try out something new, and I got the Malians. So my idea now was defeat the computer on hard with whatever civilization I have. Trying to understand whatever game mechanics or via its available upgrades and technologies and whatever. I'm trying to understand the essence of each civilization on my own. I mean, of course, I see a lot of content. I watch a lot of Beastie Cutie and several Age of Empires content creators in general. But my ability to retain a lot of that information just washes away. So I'm trying to get a feel for myself without build orders, without anything, just trying to play as I, doing whatever I can to understand. Of course, as I see, more stuff and I understand now the game better by playing it, a lot of the builds and playstyles are gonna, become a little bit more natural to my casual playstyle. Either way, I'm still losing to the hard computer. Well, as I was playing the Malians, trying them out and everything, I still take a long time to produce units. Like I'm at minute 10 and still micromanaging, which is something I think the Malians. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I may say wild stuff, but I think the Malians are very good at that strongholdy kind of play style, right? Especially because they have a mechanical the cow boom, right? So the Malians are this African kingdom from around the 13th century to the 16th century, I think. The Mali Empire with the famous ruler Mansa Musa, and it's about this empire that ruled that expanded over the Sahara and was building itself through vassal kingdoms and and trade networks all across the Niger River. So as any great civilization ever of history, make your kingdom in rivers and you shall prosper. So the Malians historically represent that empire. Even though the Age of Empires franchise has always represented, African and Asian and worldwide cultures, it's always been very Eurocentric. So it's special when they do take some effort to bring a lot of the cultural differences of each civilization in comparison. Why do I say this? Besides the art style, the visual aesthetics of the Malians are very cool. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm liking the Malians a lot. It's just they look cool, and the music. If sound is one of the best things of Age of Empires 4, like just experiencing the sound of Age of Empires 4 is fantastic. The Malians keep on with that because the music is I don't know, it's just amazing. It takes me there, it takes me there to that era to that kingdom, to the Saharan kingdom, right? African kingdom. And of course, a lot of the systems and mechanics play up with them being this massive empire with a huge trade network. I was trying to defeat the hard computer. They got the Britons, the British, and they got the English. So again, I was just trying out all the different styles and the units, and I really like the Malians not because of the cultural aesthetics, also because of because of their mechanical differences. So they can mine, for example, they can mine gold straight from the gold patches or the gold rocks or whatever they call them. You call them the gold veins, and but also they can put like pit mines on top of them, on top of the gold. And what these pit mines will do is that they receive gold per minute, depending on how many houses you have around that pit mine. So instead of mining gold, which you can very much still do even with the pit mine on top, you just build your houses around the gold mines. One of their landmarks, one of the H2 landmarks is it's pretty much the same thing, but on its own. It's called the Mansa Quarry, and it's just a building that generates gold by itself. So it really sells this idea. They have a ton of gold, and their mills. For gold you can buy cows, and you can just like collect meat from the cows. Just massively produce cows, and you can kill them and get the meat, or you can build a building unique to the Malians. Well, I don't know if it's unique to them, but I think it's. I don't think I have played any other civilization like them in Age of Empires 4. You can hold like 3 cows in the livestock pen, and they will generate food on their own. So instead of farms, you build these things that cost you gold, which you have a lot of, and just massively produce meat. And you can also do farms or hunt or do the berries or whatever whilst producing food from the cows. It's a very boomy civilization with a lot of very fast and skirmishy units, which I like a lot. I usually like civilizations and factions that are about mobility and engaging in range. For example, I really love the Malians. I really love the Magyars in Age of Empires 2 because of that. Their ranged cavalry, and the Malians are good with scouts. They have good skirmishers. They have javelin throwers. They're all about speed and throwing, and they have poisonous damage, and there's a lot of things they do in combat that attract me, but they are also very boomy. And well, a lot of the civilizations in Age of Empires 4, in Age of Empires in general, it's about booming, right? It's about exploding something, about your resources and going with it. But no, the Malians are like boomy, super boomy between that. The strategy game that the Malians borrow from, it has to be like Stronghold, or because of the cows, and or they actually feel like playing the Mexicans. So maybe that's one of maybe that's why I like them, because they really play like playing the Mexicans from Age of Empires 3. You have the haciendas, and you just build a lot of haciendas, and they produce a lot of food and a lot of gold, and that's pretty much the deal with the Malians. So I was trying to defeat the hard computer, and I failed a lot. Like, you don't know, I spent hours. This wasn't just a Wednesday game, let me tell you, a Wednesday thing. It spanned all across the weekend, and I was really trying to defeat the hard computer. I mean, it wasn't that much, maybe like 4 hours in total, but I mean, still 4 hours of Malian playtime, which I was like, I lost for the half of it, and the other half of it I won. I finally began to win. The first time that I won, I just couldn't get my timing, like my units or a good mass of units out fast enough with the Mansa Quarry. So what I did is every unit, every civilization in Age of Empires 4 has like an outpost building. You can build like a tower, and you can garrison your units in those towers, right? So the Malians, these towers are Saharan, part of the Saharan trade network. So every I don't know what the trade cart equivalent of Age of Empires is. Maybe it's trade cart, but whatever unit goes to the market that goes through those towers, through the defensive towers, they supposedly they get a gold boost. Well, the first games I didn't have any because of the maps. I played mega random because I think I like the really weird and random aspect of it. And then I'll play after I get comfortable with the systems and the mechanics and the randomness of it all. Then I'll get familiar with the ladder maps or whatever. It's gonna be fun. But anyway, I like this like very crazy feel of not going, you know, how the map is gonna go. But what this meant is that sometimes I didn't have a market available. I mean, I can build a market, but there's like a market building where you can do stuff. I was too busy trying to do my shit with the Malians. I really didn't pay attention all the extent of the market building in Age of Empires 4. But anyway, for the first games. But anyway, for the first games, I didn't have that available. So, but either way, I built like the second age landmark, the other second age landmark beside the quarry. It's one of a massive tower, but that is actually called the Saharan Trade Network. But this massive tower enables the javelin emplacement. The javelin emplacement comes with the javelin emplacements and allows the upgrade of javelin emplacements for all the other towers. This upgrade allows these towers to shoot on their own. They don't need units to garrison, but I still have to buy it. But still, it's a cheaper version for like arrow slits and cannons. I think it's cheaper. I might lie though. Or maybe it's a gold focus instead of stone. I don't know. But, you know, it plays up with what the Malians are doing anyway. So I built this thing in the middle of the of the map. I scouted where the British were. I built this thing right in the middle of their, you know, if I was on the let's say the left side of the map or western side of the map, and they were at the northern side of the map, and well, I'd be eastern side of the map. I don't remember, but I put like I smacked the tower right in the middle, behind on front of gold and I think the religious site. Like it was a bit far from my initial city, but it was actually, you know, amazing for map control. So every time I saw the British come with their longbows, I just garrisoned everyone in my building. And when they brought their siege units or whatever that was trying to harm the towers, I brought out my army, the Malians, and javelin throwers and some horses and some warriors. I was trying everything. And I finally got it. I defeated it. So after that win, I was like, nothing can stop me. Like, the hard computer is nothing to me. I understand Age of Empires completely. Of course, that's not true. I saw some more videos and of Beastie Cutie after I played, and other build guides. So I kind of saw that I was playing the Malians all wrong. Not completely, but because I was trying out everything, but there were still some kinks to adjust. Either way, I was playing the final game I did with the Malians. was against the Rus. You know, again, I was super, you know, high euphoric from my win against the hard computer, the English hard computer. So I said, you know, the Rus are gonna be well, I don't know. I went random. I just said, you know, whoever comes next is gonna be easy work. I understand Age of Empires completely. I understand the Malians. I know what's up. Oh, because the reason I could really like hold out against the English it was because of the cow boom. So there's this building that generates the penstock, I think, that generates food, 20 food per minute for each livestock around it. You know, so every cow that it's already farming me food or generating me food produces even more food. It's like 400 food extra if you have the full 20 cows that the game allows you to have. So it's just a lot of food. So after I could hold out with the towers, I would just massively produce food thanks to their all of the quarries and this, you know, and all of the cows. I remember something funny. One of the games I lost, I remember something funny happened. That you build the houses around the gold pit mine, right? One of these times I built up mills instead of houses. So I had no gold. I was starving for gold. I was like, why is this not working? And I turned around to my pitmans and I said, well, I have to mine the gold in. And I see that, oh, I actually built the farm, the mills there. You know, there's the walk of shame in Age of Empires where you have to destroy the buildings that you just built because, you know, you have to suppress delete your building because you can't believe you've done this. So I just left it there and I took that loss. I knew it was gone. But anyway, I won after that, and then we go into the Rus game, and I wanted to try out again different landmarks. So I said, okay, maybe the towers were fun, but let me try something new. So I went back to the Mansa Quarry, the gold generating building, and I said, okay, I'm going to not go cow boom building. After this, I'm going to try a new building, which was like a barracks that allowed me, I don't know if it enhanced all of my units or only the units produced. I think only the units produced in those barracks were like special version of the units I already have, something like that. And then there was and then the last landmarks were like there was something called the festival, which produces massive amounts of resources or bonuses or something like that in waves or a castle. Both times I got both times that I did win against the computer, I went to castle. I love me my castles. I love me my castle landmarks in Age of Empires 4. The castle has a cool aura. It gives stealth to my units, to my infantry. I think, infantry only? I don't remember, but it gave stealth to my infantry. I don't know what that means in Age of Empire 4. I don't know if it's like a certain distance for units to be seen or ranged units miss, or I don't know what stealth actually means, but it plays up with how skirmishy the Malians are. I was stealthing right in the front of the English base or city, and so I don't know. I just love castles. I love plopping castles, you know, right in the front of the enemy base. There's very few things as fun as building a massive offensive, defensive titan of a building that you just can't deal with. There's just something about it. Well, the Rus actually, speaking of, I thought the Rus were gonna be easy work. And I played better than the English. I mean, better. but it took me a lot more to defeat the Rus. I don't know how unique this is to the Rus, probably is, but their buildings were very strong, and they also have like a version of the tower, of the basic tower, that they can make, that they can convert into like a tiny castle. So the slow push against the Rus was tough, and I did, you know, I made several castles in front of their gate. I made several towers all over the resources. They just kept sending horsemen after horsemen after horsemen, and catapults, and they even destroyed my landmark, and I was hurt. Still, we pushed through, and now I'm interested in the Rus. You know, castles and horses. That's one of the reasons I like the Malians, I like the Bulgarians. I like, you know, it's a cool concept. But anyway, I really like the Malians a lot. I don't know if they shot right into my top spot for civilizations in Age of Empires 4. I think I feel really comfortable with them because of their boomy mechanics. Again, they play very much like the Mexicans. You make a lot of cheap units and you move around and you push and push and push and push and don't let out. Maybe not. Maybe there's other civilizations that do that earlier. But the Malians and the Mexicans both had that idea of good cheap units and a lot of money. But still, I like the Malians for themselves. Again, they are like they have a lot of off systems or off mechanics compared to the rest of Age of Empires 4. Well, because it very much borrows from the Age of Empires formula. It's very noticeable when things do kind of like a little bit of a sidetrack. I really like what Age of Empires 4 is doing. I'm having fun with the Malians, but I might want to try. I don't know if I'm ready to say goodbye to them, but I might try another random civilization next week. Who knows? But anyway, tell me, what's your favorite civilization in Age of Empires 4? What do you have any tips for Malian players or people that want to play Malians? If you have played Malians, what has your experience been with them? I really like them a lot. How would you rate them in your civilization rankings? You know, please do let me know, and we'll see how it goes next week. Thursday, I played Star Wars Empire at War. It's an old RTS cross 4X kinda hybrid, which is more so like a grand strategy game with real-time battles. But in the skirmish system, there's also a lot of the usual base building and like you can play the game completely, you know, through the grand strategy kind of map, which is played in real time, not via turns. Well, it has turns, they just pass in real time. But the movement is not turn-based. The movement is real time. You know, whatever the unit takes to go from point A to point B, that's what it took. The turns are just to know, like cycles, to know when your stuff when you get more credits. So you can play the game via the strategy map and just auto-resolve all the battles. Or you can just like play them. There's two types of battles. There's space battles and there's land battles. And they function pretty much the same. You have your units and they have counters. And as technology goes or upgrades, as technology advances, you get new, more powerful units. In land, you have infantry. That's good to capture stuff. Then you have like small vehicles. Then you have like more powerful tanks, and then this like super powerful Star Warsian weapons, you know, like the AT&T, and you also have heroes like the Darth Vader and Boba Fett. Usually heroes, I think they're stronger. Well, no, it depends. Depends on the hero if he's stronger on land than he is in space. Now, some heroes have double forms, like land and space. Some don't. Then you have the space battles, which are, you know, everyone's cup of tea. That's what people usually like Star Wars Empire World War for. It's because the space battles are the cool ones. The land battles feel very clunky, but the space battles are I mean, there's the space battles are still, you know, clunky, but that's just to justify the slow movement of space. Actually, it's more like in a 2D plane, very battleship-like kind of battles. But you have the cool Star Wars designs. So you have like your fighters, which are the small ships, and then you have your cruisers, I think, or frigates. Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, frigates. Your frigate type ships that are anti-small ships, and then you have your cruisers. And pretty much how cruisers and battleships works is that after the frigates, pretty much how things work is the bigger things are very good at destroying the smaller cruisers. You know, the big cruisers are very good at destroying everything that's smaller than them, except things that are too small, like the fighters, which are why the frigates are pretty good, because they're very powerful at destroying several squads of fighters. So that's pretty much how the things go. You know, if you want to destroy a big cruiser, better not risk yours and send a bunch of tiny little fighters. But you know, it may have a lot of frigates protecting it, so you may have to either way risk your cruisers. So it plays up kind of like that. All of the ships, almost all of the ships have special abilities or modes that they can activate to deal extra damage, or to have shields, or to interact in any ways with a map or other ships or stuff like that. It's very cool. I decided to play Star Wars because I don't know. I already played a kind of spreadsheet simulator with Driftland, so I wanted a little bit more action rather than the classical style of action that 4X's give me. So that's why I played Empire at War. I'm in the process of replaying the campaigns on hard. I played them in medium like 5 years ago for the first time. It's a game that I used to play long before. But I got back into it like 4 or 5 years ago, you know, just for nostalgia's sake. And I'm in the process of, you know, recording the main campaigns and replaying them on hard to see, you know, to see how it goes. The campaigns are not really representative of what the game can be or truly is. I mean, a lot of people say this in RTS, that the skirmish matches are really what RTSs are for, rather than the single player or the very constrictive puzzle-like challenges of the single player. You know, it's very restrictive, restrained. They give you very little because it's, you know, to introduce you to the game or show you the units, and it doesn't really portray this very much free-form battle of wits that RTSs can be. I mean, I'm a single-player guy. I'm a casual fan. I'm a casual enjoyer. Yes, I go into skirmish matches every now and then, but you know, I like the campaigns a lot, and that's usually what draws me into a game. You know, if the campaign is interesting enough or something. But in this case, in the case of Star Wars Empire at War, all those preconceptions about RTS are really true. I mean, the campaign is okay, it's fine, it's a fun little tutorial way to introduce, in Star Wars, to introduce the systems of the game. And it's thematic, and usually just had you running around, you know, go here, build up, because of how restrained it is, and it has to be if it wants to be a very introductory experience. It doesn't bring into the table how RTSy the 4X experience in Empire at War is. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like a map in a very risk style of you know, the typical for the grand strategy games. Everything's happening fast, and you have to build up your buildings and your production, you know, quickly, and go into the planet and go back, and you have to move your units all over the place because there's stuff happening all over the place, and you have to take control quickly, take control of important you know, meeting points in the map before everyone else does, and move like your supplies back in and back out, because the rebels can ignore your blockades, and the criminal kind of faction, the criminal like faction can also ignore your blockades, but in other ways. So we have to move around the Emperor because he gives a huge discount to your units, but also because he's the only one that can end corruption in your empire. So it's a lot of moving parts all over the place, and then you go into a battle, and then you go into another battle. Like, it really feels, even if it has a pause, it really feels real time. Everything's so intense, so active. That's not true on the campaign. In the campaign, you have well, it opens up like four maps at a time, 4 planets at a time. And to take control of these planets, well, of course, there are rebel bases in case, you know, very strong encasing them. So you have to build up your units. So you just pretty much build up a huge army, almost kind of wanting to top your, you know, reaching the top of your supply. And you throw that at the enemy, and you achieve it because it's massive numbers. And then you take that planet, and then you grow your supply, and then you build another army, and then you rebuild your huge army, and then you go into another planet, and just as long as you defend, you're gonna be fine. Of course, if you, I think it can happen that if they break your defenses, you're done. Which also happens in the Galactic Conquest mode. If someone breaks in through your defenses and grabs a spot that you really needed, oh boy, coming back from that it's terrifying. It really plays up with the aspect of how the rebels, how an empire is spread over, even with the massive resources it holds. It can't really cover the whole map, so it's spreading itself thin, and by the bigger it expands, the more dangerous it is. The story takes place between a little bit before A New Hope, and probably around or a little bit after. At least the first campaign, the Empire campaign of the base game. I think a lot of it is chasing spies and pirates and whatever the rebellion is, making, you know, or forming or building up. But I think the only level that the only mission that really got to me, and like, oh, this is a cool idea, this is a cool level, this is a cool tutorial way. Well, the Boba Fett one wasn't bad, where you are Boba Fett, you hire Boba Fett, and you take him around and destroy very quickly some satellites or something. I don't know. Boba Fett is fun to play. The Boba Fett ship, it's fast. It can deal with a lot of squads and tiny units very easily. It's a cool ship, but the level was kind of simple. You know, just run around and that's it. The level before the mission before the last one, where you have to get. I've been fooling you. This is not the last mission. I mean, it's one of the last missions, but it's not the last mission. But anyway, the mission, I thought it was. I felt like it was. You know, after this, everything else is just like a celebratory route. You'll see why. But this last mission on Tatooine, it was very fun. You know, the objective is there's a very powerful pirate base here. You have to go in and destroy it, hide in the nebula that's in there, to hide all your ships in the nebula, and wait for an incoming rebel transmission. Something like something's going on. You have to wait for them. You have to wait for the transmission of our plans, of the Death Star plans, to be relayed to a specific receiver. You want to see who the receiver is, and attack them or whatever. But in secret, this mission is in Tatooine. So it's actually, surprise, surprise, the introduction of A New Hope. And who is receiving said transmission after you clear out the pirates and hide? It's Princess Leia. So you have to take out your forces, and you have you have a special kind of ship that doesn't allow, that you have to activate the gravity whatever disruption, and it doesn't allow for your enemies to retreat. Because that's a mechanic in the game. Whenever you get into a fight, if it's not going well for you, you can retreat and take your units away. Well, this tiny ship disrupts the gravity fields, and now you can do that. So the idea is to take those ships, activate them, and don't let Princess Leia escape. Use your tractor beam in the Empire, what's it, Star Destroyer? The Imperial Star Destroyer or whatever, and take Princess Leia, which I feared for a little because she's on a frigate, and I had like 4 or 5 of the giant pizza things, and they kept blasting at her, and I just couldn't reach her. I kept chasing her, and the ship was too fast, and she kept, she was still on firing range, because my ships have massive firing range. But again, I think the mission doesn't allow her to die, or maybe it has like a safe hold of damage that it forgives, because it understands that, oh well, it might get hit by said weapons or whatever. Like, I think it might be a loose state to try and destroy it, but luckily enough, I couldn't. I took the tractor beam, I took Princess Leia, and after that mission, we received the Death Star, and what's left to do is go to these 4. Oh, we had to destroy Alderaan first. Yeah, it was, the whole thing. So now that you unlock the Death Star in the Empire, for the Empire, you can just take the Death Star moves massively and slowly. It's a giant unit, and you can't actually use it in the battle, but you do. You can activate it, and after a while you just destroy the planet, and it really destroys the planet. If your opponent had, or whoever had a base with production and resources, after that it's just a giant asteroid field. It's nothing. So the idea after that is to take the Death Star to the 4 last remaining rebel bases, and boom, taking them out. And that's it. You win, and the bad guys win. And now, I mean, the story in the campaign, again, I think it was just the fun ride of the Star Wars thematic, right? If you want to play the Rebels, you can, and if you want to play the Empire, because they are game pieces in our game, in our RTS, cool RTS theme, you can. There's a lot to be said about the gamification and trivialization of the Empire via the power fantasy that you want to give to the player. This is something that's always existed in Star Wars. I mean, not in the movies, but since the toys. It's just a repetition of it, right? Like, it's the cowboys and Indians only dressed up in sci-fi. I'm saying this because I've been craving. I watched Andor way back when it came out. I loved it, and now that I think the second season is gonna come out, and I've been bombarded by media, I think, of it. I've been craving to watch it again because it hits so hard on how big of an asshole the Empire is, and you know, I think their playstyle, at least in the way they engage with the map, plays up with being this very oppressive and aggressive and violent and destructive force. You know, George Lucas has said it, and there's been, you know, a lot of discussion about it, and the imagery and the aesthetics and everything, and of course the Empire are pretty much, you know, space Nazis. I just saw a video recently. I forgot the YouTube name. I'm gonna put it here. You can go watch it, about, you know, the problem with playing with the Nazis in Company of Heroes kind of games. Well, in strategy games. Of course, this is a sci-fi game in a sci-fi world, in a make-believe story, and it's just for entertainment. And I'll admit that I love playing the bad guys in RTSs, because they usually have the most interesting or aggressive mechanics. And then, you know, I like the Zerg, I like the Empire, I like the Skaven, you know, all this. I like the Undead. And what I like of the Empire's oppressive way to play is you don't build the fighters. Usually with the other factions, you build your fighter ships. You know, each X-wing you see, or each X-wing squadron or Y-wing squadron, you build it. In the Empire, it's not like that. We don't do that here. We go straight. We pull up all our resources straight into the cruisers. You know, the pizza shapes, the Star Destroyers, and all these Star Destroyers automatically produce. They have like a reserve of X amount of TIE fighters and TIE bombers, and so that's pretty much it. You know, you just build the massive ships, and the idea is to take control of the sky, let's say, of the space, and, you know, go everywhere and destroy everybody's space station with your massive navy and your massive force. And then you'll send in the invasion forces, usually backed up with bombard runs by your fighters. In contrast with like the rebels, that they usually want to avoid the big fights. They want to take their big fleet into strategic positions that they can take advantage of, and they're usually running away from your massive navy and trying to destabilize your land production. I can't wait. So yeah, I can't wait to play the Galactic Conquest. Still, I have to go through the Rebel campaign. I'll see if I like it more than the second run of the Empire campaign. I think from all of the campaigns, I think I like the Consortium a bit more, even though it's a bit more of the same, of just build up your massive force and then go into a battle and just spam every ship, you know, until the reserves of the enemies go away. And there's really not much strategy or anything, which is, you know, the difference in contrast to the Galactic Conquest map, where those really are your last resources, and you don't have like build up phases. Everything's like go, and it's not like massive force versus massive force. It's like the 3 ships that I can afford to be here are there, and the other ships that I can afford to be over here are there, and it's really about managing who's going to where and whose job is to do what. For a Star Wars fan, it's fun. It's an old game. It looks old. It had some recent updates. For an old game, I mean, it looks old, but it looks nice. It's Star Warsy. It has this very old Star Wars aesthetic that's very unique to that original trilogy era, and it keeps it. Even though it came out after, I think it definitely came out after the second trilogy. and there's a lot of the music. The music is straight from the movies. It's you know, you're there, you're listening to the score, you're, you know, doing all the sounds are all the Star Wars sounds. You know, it's the campaigns for a Star Wars fan. It's, you know, it's everything you would want or expect as just as a fan. But anyway, have you played this game ever? What are your thoughts on it as an RTS or as a grand strategy? What is your favorite faction? Mine's, oh, I'm still not decided. I think that's why one of the reasons I'm still playing this the campaigns, because I'm still like, I really like how the Empire works with just throwing a lot of the throwing resources at your enemies, and maybe that'll kill them one day. But I really also like how skirmishy the rebels are, and I love, no, okay, no, the consortium has droidecas. So yeah. But anyway, let me know, what are your favorite what's your favorite faction in Star Wars Empire War? What do you think of the game? Whew, all right. So hey, if you're still here after watching the whole video, I want to thank you so much for you know, for hanging. Please, you know, the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, anything to help me grow this channel. For this to be an actual RTS book club, you know, I'm gonna talk about the stuff I like, but I need to hear about what you all like, and, you know, any tips, any tricks, you know, share what you think about the story of the games. That's my vision. That's my vision for this community. Just everyone talking RTS. But anyway, I can't wait to go back and play some more. So I better just wrap this up and see you all later. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.